Welcome back to my car cave. I'm here yet again with another 1/18 scale Ferrari from GP Replica, just kind of in a Ferrari mode at this point. Anyways, this is the 1994 Ferrari 412 T1B. It's a later season version of this car. This happens to be the Gerhard Berger German GP winning car. Let's go ahead and take it out and let's see what we got in here. As always with GP Replicas, you get an acrylic, sorry, I hit the camera, acrylic cover. They now come with this certificate of authenticity. Again, I've shown this before. I don't know what's going on with GP Replicas that they feel like they need to offer this uh, piece of paper, whether there's counterfeit going on or something like that. It comes with this cloth cover, which is always nice. These come with the higher end resins, but again, as I always say, should be wrapped around the acrylic, not here, because I have no use for it afterwards. And then, you get it in this box. Here you go with the wrapping and that kind of stuff on it. So we'll get it out of the box and we'll take a closer look at the car. Okay, now we got it out of the box. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Like I said, this is the 1994 Ferrari 412 T1B. So this is a version of the car that they debuted at the French Grand Prix. I think it was roughly the 7th Grand Prix of the year to replace the T1. Significant changes aerodynamically as well as to the engine. They went from a Tipo 41 engine that was like 750 horsepower to Tipo 43 engine that was 850 horsepower. I think the biggest difference was they went from a 65-degree V12 engine angle to a 75-degree angle. Anyway, so somehow they were able to generate an extra 100 horsepower performance. So that said, the car was not, again, finished third in the championship. They did have 11 podiums, so that's not too bad. They had this one win. It was their first win in 59 races, I believe. So, from that point, it was a step in the right direction. That said, they had something like 14 DNFs again. They finished, again, third in the title. So not a hugely successful car, but again, 11 podiums. You can't, that's not bad. They were the captain of finishing second and third when they did finish. So, had they had not had the reliability issues, you could have conceivably seen them competing, against Benetton for the title, possibly. Anyway, so again, like I said, this is this is from the German Grand Prix. Interestingly enough, I mean, it was historic for Ferrari to finally get a win after 59 races. I think this German Grand Prix was more famously remembered for Jos Verstappen's pit lane fire that led to I think eventually the banning of fueling or refueling of cars. At least that seemed to be the mantra, was safety first, but I think more likely it was because manufacturers were looking to increase fuel production or fuel efficiency in their engines, and so they would test it in racing and then bring it out to the public. And then what I find more entertaining is that this race featured 11 cars that did not make it past the first lap. So between some accidents, some mechanical failures, 11 cars are out on the first lap. Gerhard Berger did start from pole, led I think all of the race, and obviously went on to win. However, if you look at the finishing list, I think it's 8 finishers. Outside of Damon Hill, no one is notable. Oliver Panis, I guess, is notable. Yeah, if you're an F1 fan, you'll recognize the names, but it was all second-tier drivers for sure. So I think it's pretty, you know, again, they won, but who did they really beat? So anyways, it was, not again, not a season to really remember for Ferrari. But anyway, so yeah, that's enough about the history of the car. Let's go ahead and let's talk about some of the details and that kind of stuff, and then I'll show you what the Minichamps version looks like. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the quality of this model. First off, I just want to point out these placards. Now you're starting to see, I've noticed, instead of just saying limited edition 500, it actually gives you a count. So this is number 4 of 500. That's pretty meaningless in the grand scheme of things, but for collector nerds like myself, yeah, that kind of stuff totally, works with me, and I get excited thinking I got some, one of the first ones made. That said, GP Replicas typical quality high gloss paint, great carbon fiber decaling, lots of little rivets and stuff done in photo etch. But let's go ahead and kind of just highlight some of the stuff. Again, the typical carbon fiber decaling in here. I don't know if you can see it on camera. This has got a yellow tinge to the front edge or leading edge of this wing plane, and that's correct for the period. So that's a pretty neat little detail. As you move back, we've got all these nice barge boards. We got all these little rivets everywhere. Lots of photo etch grill mesh parts in the air intake here, as well as the radiator intakes there. Also on this additional air outlet or inlet, you have a little piece of mesh photo etch part there as well, which I think is pretty neat. So overall, yeah, really nice quality. All the diffusers done in carbon fiber, the wing plates, end plates, and the cross members all done in carbon fiber. Um, Even the spine, which I guess would probably be the top of the air scoop intake, is also done in carbon fiber. You got this nice little TV camera end plate mounted camera there, and then you had a spot for the camera here. So on the Lacey car, the camera is actually here, but in the race, Berger's was on the rear wing, and then Lacey had one here. And so it's interesting they had this little, mounting spot. I'm surprised they didn't have a more aerodynamic cap to put on there when they weren't mounting the TV cameras to that particular position. That said, there's always some little flaws that I can find here. And, my biggest grief with these modern, semi-modern F1 cars from GP Replicas is the wheel size. I don't know what it is. The sidewall on these fronts looks huge. These would have been 26 inches and 25 inches respectively. That's hard to discern at 1/18th. I put a level on it and there's a slight downslope. So, I'm not saying that these are the same size tire. They're definitely not the same width. Um, but maybe the rim, this would have been a 13-inch, and this also should have been 13, and maybe this is slightly smaller, which it shouldn't have been. They should have been the same size, accounting for why the sidewalls look almost the same. I just can't put a finger on it. It just optically doesn't look right, and at scale, that can be a problem. I understand, even if it's totally numerically correct, scale wise. The Minichamps just looks better to me. Also, this rear end wing, the end plates look too narrow to me relative to the Minichamps version. I think they should be a little bit bigger. And then lastly, the driver figure looks too small. I don't know if the cockpit is too big or the driver figure is too small, but it just doesn't look right. The helmet is the first thing I noticed. Berger and I believe the Lacey used beefy helmets. Anyways, so they had a little more aerodynamic shape to him versus the Bell, but this just looks tiny. His head looks low, and again, the width of this cockpit looks too big in my opinion. So, if I had any complaints, that would be kind of it. Um, it's and also here online, these look the photos. This looks to have more of an angle to it, and this looks almost straight out. It's not. But again, at 1/18 scale, maybe that's the correct angle. It just appears more acute in the pictures online. So that'd be kind of a drawback. But anyways, overall, really, yeah, I like this model. It's significantly different than the T1 that I have from Minichamps. So this is yeah, super old model. It's like 30 years old. So decals peeling off here. The paint is in terrible condition. Lots of orange peel. It's not die-cast rot at this point, but definitely this orange peel is prevalent. I'm not sure if that picks up on the camera. And then you see decals that have aged, and so the clear parts have colored or yellowed, and so now you can see clearly where they they were on the car, and it really highlights on the black parts of the car here. So, anyways, this car looks yeah, it looks aged and old, and so a lot of the rubber is reacting with the paint here. That's very common with these cars as they age, and so if you touch that, it's sticky and it kind of bubbles up. And so this car, like I said, if GP Replicas made a driver variant of this version, I would definitely buy it. There's not a lot I can do to salvage this one, unfortunately, unless I stripped it and repainted it, which, yeah, I guess that's a possibility, but I'm not sure that's in my skill set. But anyways, you can see definitely the wing end plates are definitely different. They have these directional vanes back here. Then you get this. I love this nice kind of intake, radiator intake. It's elegant to me. So I really like that design. Then you got a bigger, larger domed kind of diffuser back here versus what you have with the GP replica. So significantly different looking cars. So again, as someone who's trying to collect each variation of the Ferraris, I'm happy to have both of these in my collection. And yeah, so if you like the video, hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll get some new videos out soon.